Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Custom Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster. I wanted to know how to recreate this graphic, but make it a lot sharper. As you can see when I zoom in, this original graphic is really low resolution. The edges are not even sharp at all. So you're going to have to recreate this on your own from scratch using either the Polygon tool or the magic tool, whichever one works best. We're first going to show you with the Polygon tool. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it'll take too long. But as an example, I recreated this graphic here, and as I zoom in, you're going to see how sharp this graphic is of my family's restaurants. And what happened is we lost the whole original graphic, so I recreated this using a Polygon tool. Where did I find the original graphic for this? I actually found it from an old matchbook cover I had. This is the last version of the logo that I had. So what I did is I scanned this on a scanner printer and then brought in the JPEG into Elements and then carefully mapped out using the Polygon tool every little nuance and line on this. And it took a long time, but you know what? The logo is nice and sharp and I love the way it came out. In this particular case, once again, we got a fuzzy logo here. So what we're going to do is create a new layer up here, left click, and that's a new layer. That's where the new portions are going to go. But luckily we can see right through it into the old layer, the bottom layer, which is right here. If I choose the Polygon tool, I'm going to zoom in. I'm only going to do a portion of the graphic, not the whole thing, because it'll take forever. And I start left clicking here, and you know what? This is like complete artistic interpretation on how and where the line actually goes. I'm going somewhere in between the outside edge of the fuzziness and then the inside edge where it's pure black, and I kind of go in the middle of both. You can choose one or the other or use a little bit of both. And that's all there is to it. This will take a long time to do, but you know what? If it is worth it for you and your client, it's totally worth it to do this way. So I'm just going to continue clicking, left clicking. What this does is it creates a polygon of what your graphic is underneath. I'm going to stop it right here and cut across. Come back over here, and I'm going to cut across here. And I'm left clicking like this. I'll stop this one here. I'll bring it back. And maybe I'll just do this circle here like this. And you can click a lot closer like this to make it a lot smoother. Or you can make a longer lines, which will be more jaggedy, but will take a shorter time to do. What's nice about this method is that no matter how you do it, it's going to come out really super sharp. I'm going to go ahead and stop right here, cut it across, and come over here. When I get to the end, all you do is, you don't have to touch the end, just get close to it and double click, and it closes the lines and gives you the marching ants. Those marching ants tells you what the edge is that you can fill in. So now we come over here to the color palette. I'll click on the color palette, and let's go ahead and change the color. Instead of black, let's go ahead and make a kind of a bright pink reddish color right there. I'll hit OK. Then you grab the paint bucket, and as long as you're sure you're on a new layer, not the old layer, stay on that top layer, I'll click inside the polygon and it fills it in. Hit Control D to deselect, and there you have your portion. I'll go ahead and turn off the background so you can see that new portion that we created. If I want to go ahead and color it black so it looks more like the original color, I just take the paint bucket, make sure I choose the right layer, and just click black in there. And there you go. That is a perfect copy of this particular background, but it's nice and sharp in our case. And that's the first way to do it. I'll go ahead and delete that and then turn that background back on, the original. The other way is to use the magic tool. Now if I grab the magic tool and look down here at your tolerance, the tolerance goes from 0 to 255, 0 being the least. If I go like to 5 point and try to choose a portion of the original, it's only going to do a small portion. It's not going to grab the whole thing. So I'm going to undo that and change that tolerance to, I don't know, like 50 points. Let's try that again. I'll click somewhere in between there, and that looks good. It grabbed a lot of it, but if you zoom in, you're going to see it left a lot of the edges that we want. So I'm going to undo that and bring this up to, let's say, 150. And try that again. I'll click in here with the magic tool and look at that. It grabbed everything, including a lot of the fuzziness. Now if you want to go somewhere in between, I'll go ahead and undo that and bring that down to 100 points. And click in here, and that looks really perfect. The lines aren't way inside of the fuzziness, and it's not on the total outside. It's really closer to what I had created using the Polygon tool, but it includes all the little nuances that this graphic originally has. So now that I chose a good tolerance for that at 100 points, then I want to fill this in, but make sure that you open up a new layer up here. I'll left click there, come over here. Let's go ahead and make that layer pink again so that we can see the difference. I'll come over here to the paint bucket, making sure we're on a new layer, and click inside here somewhere and look at that. I'll hit Control D to deselect, and I'll turn off the background. And look at that. That's looking really nice. Now there was a couple portions that I missed. All you got to do is turn that background back on, choose the background layer, go back to the magic tool, and I can click here. I can hold the shift, which will allow me to choose more than one portion. As you can see, I'm choosing a bunch of these little black portions, the black dots here, like that, and like that. Now I chose all of those. Once again, with the paint bucket, if I paint into, I need to go up here to the blank layer, and I can paint in these portions like that. And that's all there is to it. Now up here, you can see when I zoom in, it left a little piece untouched there where it's missing. All you got to do is go to the paintbrush and then pick a brush size. This is set to a harsh brush size. Let's make it a little bit smaller like that. We can just manually just paint that in like this. Just go like that and like that. And that's all there's to it. When I turn off the background, the original, look at your new version. It's nice and sharp, and we can change the color back to black if we want by going to the color palette, drag with the left mouse button this circle down to bottom left, which is pure black, hit OK, grab the paint bucket, make sure we're on the right layer, and then left click in here and paint it everything black, well, except for these little portions here, but that's easy to fill in. Boom, 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 and there we go. It was that easy. I'll turn off the black background, and there we go. Nice and sharp. And that's all there is to it. Hey, don't forget to subscribe and like. And this is Rich, calling it quits for this tutorial, saying over and out.